All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our team call. I'm so pumped to hear from my friend Alicia tonight. We've got some killer content ahead for you, a great training on networking and growing your following and all those things that we ask about. But real quick, we're going to go through some announcements. So if you did not watch Super Saturday Live, which I was not able to get into the Zoom link, I was very mad. But I watched it live in the Southeast page. The regional page, Cal had it up. Super Saturday was so good, so much coming down the line this year. And what I really appreciate about Beachbody is that they always have something for us to grow our income if we utilize it. So for example, in May, we have the Energize, new flavor of Energize. In June, we have a new flavor of Shakeology, salted caramel. And then in July, we have a new program. So every single month, we have an opportunity to tap into a new network of people with different needs. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. But if you've not watched that, Super Saturday was really good. They did their best with it having to be virtual. It was only an hour. And also make sure to watch the BOD group training. I did post that in the team page. We'll be talking about that more in depth later this week. So catch up on Super Saturday. Number 2, our sneak peek into coaching is tomorrow night at 8:30. So if you are inviting people to it, which you hopefully are, if you're talking about it on social media, which you hopefully are, I'm challenging you tonight to get on your Insta stories and invite people and share how coaching has changed your life and invite people to be a part of it. That's an easy action step, 60 seconds. You can do scary things. It's not a big deal. Invite to our sneak peek tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Our free group kicks off next week. So our Fight Club free group, our 5-day fitness and nutrition starts on Monday. So make sure all of that is in the announcements in the team page, the links, and all that stuff. I did want to go over a few recognition things because we've had a lot of momentum in April and a lot of exciting things are happening. And I don't want to just post about it in the team page. So I want to shout out a couple people. And not all of these are my personally sponsored. There are some coaches of other coaches in our team. So at random, I want to congratulate Laurel. She has onboarded 6 new coaches already this month alone. That's a huge deal. So awesome job, Laurel. I want to congratulate Jen. She is wrapping up week 3, heading into week 4 of, week 4. No, she's wrapping up week 4. Okay, so she's wrapping up week 4, heading into her last week of 1-star qualification. So as a week from Thursday, she will be a 1-star coach. That is so freaking huge. So we are so excited about that. We also have somebody on Thursday that is going to start 1-star qualification for the first time. So first time of my personally sponsored coaches going to start on, and Lindsay is going to be starting 1-star qual on Thursday. She's been like hustling like a mad woman. So that's super exciting. And then 2 other coaches. So Lauren Austin, I don't think she's on the call. Lauren has onboarded 5 coaches, and she's a new coach, like really has only started in the past 2 months. Onboarded 5 new coaches this month. And then Tabitha, she was on our last call. Tabitha has just announced, like literally yesterday, that she was a coach and has already hit Emerald. So she'll go Emerald on Thursday. So there are 2 really exciting things. So, and I just want you guys to know that there's so much more than just what I can see on paper. There's a lot of non-scale victories that we're celebrating, people that have recommitted to their health and fitness with 10 rounds. We have people navigating all this like stay at home and work and all the things, and you're still taking care of yourself. So there's a lot of things to celebrate today outside of just what's on a piece of paper. So without further ado, Alicia, I don't have your accolades pulled up. Will you tell us what you are? I know you're a Success Club like boss times 1,000 and then like 2-star and once, I can't remember. So tell us your accolades and then a little bit about your story, and then you can kind of take it away.
For sure. I'll tell you all the things. So first of all, Rachel, I got to tell you, I have no idea how to share my screen. And I have a presentation that I want to show you guys. So we'll get there.
Okay, yeah, it's at the bottom. There's a little thing that says share screen, and it should let you request to be, you talk.
It's the same exact way that I would do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
It's working on it. Yep, you're good.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So, hi guys. It's really awesome to be here. Your leader, Rachel, is freaking inspo. She's amazing. She's goals, and you are so lucky to be led by her. She's got such a kind heart, and just from what I've known about her in the short time that I've known her, she's incredible human. I'm really excited to be here for you guys tonight. So what I want to do tonight is help you with some tangible ways to really connect with your people. So I really think that it's within these individual connections that we make with people in this business that keeps us excited and fired up within our own businesses. It's also the thing that makes the biggest impact on the people that we're reaching out to, is when we're really truly making those connections. And a lot of us are often concerned with seeming salesy or disingenuine. And the irony in this is that if you take the steps and the time to really build the connection with the person that you don't know, your business is going to thrive, and it's going to thrive in a really feel good way. So I am tonight talking relationship building for business building, but I just want to give you a little bit on me first. My name is Alicia Rein. I'm a 3-star diamond in my first business center. I'm a diamond in my second business center. I was not like an overnight success story by any means with coaching. I have literally been a coach since 2015. It's been a rocky road for me, but really over these last couple years, really the beginning of 2019, I was like, that's it. I'm doing this. I'm going all in. I'm not dragging my feet on this anymore. And I started to get a process in order for myself. Our team hit 3-star in September of the same year, and we're hustling now. We should be going into, I don't even want to say this, I'm so nervous, but it's looking like maybe 7-star qual by Summit, which is crazy town. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Like red to my cheeks thinking about this. So anyway,
Exciting.
that's crazy. Okay. And I want you to know too that like it really does feel crazy for me that. So if you're like, I don't know that I could ever like achieve this, like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, whatever, like you can. I'm telling you, you can. I was not a leader by any means. I never thought that I could be that person. And like even for me to be speaking publicly on your call right now is a big deal for me. And our team is going to 7-star call. So you guys can have this if you want this. I'm telling you, you can. So I'm dog mom city here, as you can tell, moving forward. I actually tried for a hot second to be an actual human mom, but I've struggled in my life a lot with PCOS, and I'm also divorced now, so it's kind of a blessing in disguise. But with Beachbody, I did have 35 pounds of long-term weight loss, which isn't huge, but it's enough to feel that change in your life, to feel like baggage removed from your life. And I'll talk about that more. It was more than the weight, it's a lot of other stuff there. That happened over the course of 16 weeks ish with T25. Sean T is my soul man. I love it. Love it. And I've been able to be rid of that long term here. 5 years later, I'm still 35 pounds down. So like I was saying, bigger, much bigger than that is everything mentally. So I've struggled with bipolar depression and anxiety my entire life. I was medicated for over 15 years. I was on lithium for over 7 years. I was a slave to these toxic thoughts in my head all the time. I had 2 suicide attempts as a result of just this awful reel going on in my head that I just couldn't. It was all the self-doubt. It was all the critiquing of myself. It was all the jealousy and all the comparison with everybody else. It was the bitterness and the resentment. And I was living in that, and I couldn't step out of it. This coaching, working through the program, I'm like a 180 of that person right now. And it feels freaking amazing. A lot of you guys have to know what that feels like going through a program. But one other thing too I want to say, and I really just feel like I need to say this for anybody that needs to hear this, there isn't any shame in taking meds. There's no shame in taking meds if you need them. I don't have a perfect track history with meds in my past because of the shame that I associated with that for a long time, with my illness. But ultimately being on those meds gave me the foundation to really move forward in my life and to be able to take that opportunity with my fitness journey with coaching. So I just wanted to say that. But moving on, light at the end of the tunnel with Beachbody, I was able to completely come off of my medication and rely on a healthy lifestyle to move forward in my life. I became a much more mentally strong person, which means the most to me out of all of this. I mean, like, guys, I really had zero self-esteem, zero. Going through that process of a program, like really sticking to it, I gained major self-confidence, you know, this belief in myself, and I'm more patient, I'm more understanding, I'm less apt to react to things that frustrate me in my life. I'm calmer, I'm kinder, I'm much more aware of everything that I have to be grateful for. And it's a way happier place for me to live now. And you know, like I said, a lot of you guys have to have gotten that. How many of you have worked through a program start to finish? Yeah, so you feel that, you know, and if you ever feel disconnected from that, or you feel like your progress as a human is kind of stunting through this coaching progress or has hit a wall, get back to going all in on a program, start to finish for you. Truly, that's going to impact your best self. So anyway, like I said, I started coaching in 2015. I was nervous, but I was really stoked to run a group. Really stoked. I'm the kind of person that's just like, I want to get all my friends to do this thing with me, whatever it is, whether we're going to Vegas or we're like going to some concert, like some local concert. I always wanted to have my friends in on things with me. And I was really excited to have this place to do healthy with my people. Like Rachel said, I pretty consistently hit Success Club regularly right off the bat. So currently I've hit 30 months consecutively, and I've hit 50 in my time as a coach. 75% of that time, it's been over SC10. And the month after my first summit, I hit SC52. So guys, go to Summit, get your people to go to Summit. Summit is freaking it. And then, you know, I also was a Success Starter. So back then it was that I had to hit Success Club in my first 3 months of the business. Whereas now it's awesome because new coaches have to hit with 3 times within their first 6 months. So, and then they earn their free ticket to Summit, which is pretty cool. But anyway, I want to get into the bulk of this call. Here's the deal. You guys, I'm from New York. So with reach outs, I'm really straight to the point. I don't believe in buttering people up or deceiving anybody in any way. And by that, I mean like acting like I'm starting a conversation because I want something from them. People can feel that energy. I don't want anything from anyone. I don't reach out to somebody with the purpose of them giving me anything. I'm here to give to them. And I think that's a really important frame of mind to get into when you're contacting and engaging with people. So how many of you guys started coaching because you wanted to help other people? Right. All of us. Most of us, me included. And we can't help anybody by taking from them. We help by giving our hearts, our vulnerability, which is often the scariest part of this, value in our posts, freebies to people that might need it, giving our time and giving our loving energy. And the best way that any of us, anybody in this life, in this world can give is through our time and our energy. So when you reach out, 2 things, keep 2 things in mind. Number 1, come from a place of giving. Get your mindset into a place of giving. And number 2, offer energy that you genuinely want to know that person that you're reaching out to, and that you're willing to show them that you will open up to them too, that it's not just a one-sided thing. You can't just show up and give the very minimum energy where you're just checking boxes. And I'll be real with you guys. Some days we have to do that in order to maintain our consistency within the business with our tracker. But you have to continue to try your best to dig out your best energy so that you are coming to these people like you really want to know them more times than not. And this might mean that instead of sitting down once a week and reaching out to 20 or 50 people at one time, I don't know how you guys operate, but instead, it means you're making a point to show up every day and open up to maybe 5 women a day, but you're doing it every single day with your heart. And you have to be committed to that consistency. And I know that I'm beating this into the ground right now, but if you don't have intentions when you send a message to that specific person of really building a friendship with them, you're not going to. And this is all about building connections and friendships and really impactful interactions with people. So I am going to give you an example of how I do this here in just a second, but basically I need you to get honest with yourself about what you want from your business. If you want to grow, you need to find the energy to reach out to at least 10 to 20 women every single day. If you're a hobby coach and you want to earn an income, you still need to be reaching out to, at the very least, very least 5 women a day. And the fact of the matter is that the more women you reach out to, the higher the likelihood that someone is going to respond back and want to get to know you as well. And that's really exciting. That's the really fun part when people message us back. So you have to find your sweet spot there. And the number per day that grows your business, that's the sweet spot, is the number per day that's going to grow your business, keep you inspired and excited, and keep your momentum moving forward. And only you really know what that is, but you've got to put in the action to figure it out. And listen, you're going to be ignored. You're going to hear crickets. It happens to all of us, and it is by far not the end of the world, by far. But you have to continue to move forward, and momentum is going to help you with that. Consistency equals momentum. Find your number and commit to it for at least a month. And I'm telling you, you're going to see strides in your business. So I'm very type A. So having a process that I follow that builds my business over time is really important to me. But I'm also really, really not a salesperson. It literally makes my skin crawl thinking about sales. So feeling human connection regularly is something that I need and I thrive off of, and it keeps me excited about what I'm doing. So I want to break down 4 steps to connecting authentically. And bear with me, these photos are so hideously ugly, but this is real life. This is how I do stuff in my business. So 4 steps to connecting authentically and subsequently growing your business authentically. So number 1, you just want to say hey to the people that follow you and track those people. Number 2, invite after about 3 to 4 touch points with that person. And that's a loose suggestion. Number 3, get clear and valuable on your social media. And number 4, you want to start doing new on-brand follows regularly. And I'll get into what exactly that means. But first, let me break this down with number 1. Okay, so number 1, say hey to those that follow you and track those people. So in this step, you want to directly reach out to each person that's liked recent posts of yours, that's commented on recent posts of yours, or that is viewing your stories. And I'll tell you, the first time that you do this, it's going to feel like a really big effort because you haven't done it yet. But as you continue to move forward, it's a really reasonable thing to complete daily, because as you go through the steps, you have a smaller amount of new followers each day. So the first step is first here. You're going to go to your story that currently has the most views for the day, click and see who those viewers are, and reach out to those women with an intro, or like an intro thanks message. Really short, and I'm going to tell you right now a template that I use to create that message to send to those women. And I'll be honest with you, I use the same message. I just switch out the person's name until I start getting tired of it. And that usually is about like a couple weeks in. So the first thing within this template of this intro message that you want to send to somebody is, number 1, thank them for following you. Just thank them. Number 2, share a very little bit about who you were and what you were struggling with. The 2 biggest pieces, very, very briefly, like literally just saying what they were. Number 3, share a little bit about who you are, like why they would want to hang out with you now and why they would want to get to know you. Again, super, super briefly, like one short sentence. And number 4, thank them again and send them well wishes. And that's it. You're not asking for anything from them. You're literally just reaching out to give them a little insight into who you are. And, you can also say something like, I'm looking forward to getting to know you, but I often feel like that's even a little too much pressure for people. So I just leave it as, thank you for following me. I really appreciate it. That initial reach out message to a new follower should be really short, because you don't want to word vomit all over somebody. You just literally want to say, hey, very similarly to as if you were like at a meet and greet in real life with someone. 3 to 4 sentences at most. Use their name. Speak in a cadence that's normal to you. Like not super formal language, like exactly as you would speak. Type that out. The point of this message is to say, hey, I see you and I care. That's it. And you just want to see if they will open their heart and talk to you based on that message that you send and what they're seeing from you on your social media page. Not everyone is going to. You're going to have a lot of people that don't respond to this message, but some will. And those are the ones that you want to spend your time and energy opening up to. So you'll do the same process with the people that have liked your most recent posts and commented on your most recent posts. And you want to have a way to track these people, because life is crazy. You guys, life is completely insane. You are not going to remember sending these messages. I'm telling you, you're not. So definitely track it. And you really, once you send that message, you want to continue engaging with those people after you send the message, whether they've responded to you or not. Because you want to show that you really do care about them, that you're not just offhandedly sending this message and then forgetting that they exist. A lot of people are really skeptical. We know this. People are skeptical. Just make the point to care and continue to be there. So here are 2 ways that you can track, and you'll want to use one of them. One is like pen and paper. The other one is virtual. I'm super pen and paper person, and that is what you see right here from me is my pen and paper jumbled mess that I'm going to explain to you. So I open up a notebook. All my stuff is in a notebook. I also actually use Moira Kusaba's Rise Up Planner, which I'm obsessed with, but mainly most of my day-to-day, like bulk of the stuff that I need to follow up on with people's names is in my notebook. So I open up a page, a blank sheet of paper, and I write down the person's Instagram name. And then next to that Instagram name, I've been writing E, but in the past I wrote E, but I'm going to start writing R for reach out. I have no idea why I chose E previously, but R makes a lot more sense. Okay, so I write R next to their name, and then I would say every like 3 or 4 days, really. I don't do it every day, but I try to do it once or twice a week. I'll circle back with that person, and typically they're watching my stories, so I'll just go through my stories and I'll look at people's stories that they have on there, and I'll go to their page and like something. But I spend a decent amount of time just going back and engaging with these people. Okay, the second way to track is that you would go to that person's most recent Instagram post or one of their Instagram posts that resonates with you and add it to a collection. And then you're gonna wanna label the collections in a way that makes sense to you. So obviously I don't do this, I'm pen and paper, but Micah Folsom has a dope training on this that I really, really highly recommend watching if you wanna do it that way. I'm honestly thinking about migrating into that, but I'm here tonight, so this is what you get from me tonight. And it works. It really is effective. The lines where they're crossed out is people that I haven't had any kind of engagement with me within about a week, and I just cross their names off and I move forward onto new people. And sometimes those people continue to watch me, and sometimes they don't. But yeah, after about a week of me like reaching out, doing an arc. C is for commenting on one of their posts on their feed, and S is for like saying something on one of their stories, and I keep track of that, and those are my touch points within talking to somebody. If they're not like biting at all, I'm not here to chase people. Like I'm not going to chase you. If you don't want to engage with me, you're not my people, and that's okay. So I cross them out. So the people that do message you, these are the ones that you really want to get to know and keep track of. And listen, I just want to say, like, this pandemic that's going on is terrible. It's terrible. At best, it is a huge strain on everybody's mental health right now. And at worst, it's creating a lot of really seriously bad long-term unhealthy habits and unemployment for people and a whole, slew of stuff. But it unites us. You guys, it unites us. It is what we are all going through right now. So connect on that. Ask how people are doing. Care about the answer when you ask them. Share what you have to share based on what they say. Be real with people, share your feelings about what's going on. But also when you're doing that, keep in mind that all of the things that you're doing to help yourself pull through. Connect on the things of what you're seeing them share within their stories and their feed, but remember that you're reaching out to help them. You're reaching out to hear them, not to drain them. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're having these conversations back and forth. You can be real, but we all work on personal development. We all work on bettering ourselves every day. So we've got a lot of good within us to share in those real conversations too, I find really if I'm coming from that place of just listening and caring, I very naturally flow. And really, truly, in this world, people often just want to be heard. So just give them a platform for that. My general thought process when I'm sending these initial reach outs to people, and I'm going back and forth with these conversations, is that I have zero expectation of how that conversation is going to go. I am not trying to inject anything that's going to make that person feel pressured to do anything at all within the first 3 to 4 times that we talk, unless they directly ask me something, you know, where it feels really natural for me to say, girl, we do this, and I think this would really help you because of XYZ, whatever she shared with me. Other than that, I have no expectation within that conversation. I'm just having a back and forth, like if I was talking to somebody at a grocery store. Occasionally, you know, and there's other ways to help. So, and I only do this if it's solicited, like pretty directly, but you can offer nutrition tips, you can offer morning routine tips, you can offer free trials to different things, not just on demand, but like I meditate, and Headspace has a 14-day free trial. You can offer a book recommendation. You can offer something that you've read recently in a book that might help that person. So there's a lot of things that you can give to that person to help to not only build that connection, but to like build trust within that relationship, you know, and really you during this process you find people that are really really like you. This is really truly the fun part when you have no expectation here. So I definitely have notes, by the way, so if you see me like looking to the side and getting lost, that's literally what I'm doing right now. Okay, but I just want these people to know that I'm here to help them however I can with any problem they're having, but the actual problem that they're having. I'm not trying to address a problem that they don't have in their life. I'm hearing them and I'm responding to that. Also, something else I want to say here is that a lot of people are struggling with unemployment right now. Coaching could be huge for somebody that is in that position. And I'm seeing this a lot right now in my business, and I'm seeing some coaches that are a little bit nervous to talk about it. Do not be afraid to offer this to them. This could be the thing that changes their life. Think about how huge it is for you guys. Like, Lindsay, you're about to go into 1-star qual. That's freaking enormous. Jen, like, you guys know what a big deal this is, you know what this could be for somebody. So don't withhold that from someone because you don't know their position. You really, truly don't. And all you can do is offer. Okay, long story short, I want to invest time in the people that actually care and are intrigued by what I'm doing. So like I said, I don't chase. It is not a good time. If people aren't engaging with me, I'm not fully opening up to them. If people are watching you and liking your posts and commenting on your posts, they are interested in your life, period. It would be that them watching you. So the equivalent of that in real life, what they're doing virtually in real life is as if somebody's like laughing at like a joke that you said that they overheard you say, but they're not like super buds with you, but they're like standing over in the corner, or like they're coming over to like hang out and get in on the conversation. That's what it's like when they're following your stories. And by the way, your life includes something that they can be a part of to improve their life with your friendship and beyond that within everything that we offer, obviously. So you owe it to them to offer that and to offer it pretty regularly as they stick around with you. So, even these people that you send this message to, or you're commenting and, commenting on their stories and everything else, and they're not saying anything to you, but they're still watching you, don't give up on those people. Circle back with them the next time you run a group maybe. Or maybe one day just check in and be like, hey, I just wanted to say hi. Like, I know that you watch all my stories and I just kind of wanted to get to know you. Like, just throw anything out there to try to like engage with that person. Just be a normal weird ass person. We're all like super weird. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and odds are if they've been watching you for a little while, they connect with something about you. So just keep trying. This leads me to number 2, which is inviting, and I have some examples here and I'll go through those in a second, but I find that 9 times out of 10 it becomes pretty natural to shoot over an invite to somebody after I've had those 3 or 4 touch points with them. So whether it's the reach out, the comments on their feed, the comment on their story, definitely back and forth conversation. So typically once I'm at that point, I just rip off the Band-Aid and I send the invite. I'll just be like, hey, Sarah, by the way, I wanted to mention, since we've been chatting, I have this group coming up. And then I share, my version of an invite, which is usually like we do nutrition together, we do at-home workouts. It's a really great supportive environment. If you feel like you want to check it out, definitely let me know because you seem amazing and it'd be really cool to have you. And that's it. Like, I just send that message. And I'll be honest, sometimes people completely ignore that message. I follow up with them. Following up is so crucial. So, well, I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to say too, if you find that a conversation starts going stale too, that you're having like a back and forth and you're not really knowing what to say, but they're still following you, I think that you should still definitely send an invite, because sometimes that's just an indicator that the person isn't really very natural at social media messages, but they engaged with you initially anyway because they needed some kind of help. So I definitely recommend sending that message, even if it's gotten a little like radio silency on their end. And this is all happening within about a week anyway. Okay. And like I said, you definitely want to follow up with that. It's just a really quick, like, I'm here, shoulder tap. Literally, I'll be like, hey, I know life's crazy. I just wanted to check in. I'm here for you. And that's it. Now I want to say it doesn't always work out that I'm ready to send enough invites in one day to the people that I'm having conversations with, that the number is in line with my invite goals. Do you know what I'm saying? So I still send cold invites out. Where did I go? Okay, so I still send cold invites out, and I also send invites to people that maybe I've messaged like 2 or 3 months previously, and they're still keeping up with me, you know, like my warm market people. Ultimately, we have to invite. Our business is to invite. It's the foundation of our businesses. So I would say about 50% of my invites come from the connections that I've been building, and 50% come from my cold invites. And that's my personal sweet spot. It's what keeps me in my most happy place, with my business continuing to move forward and me feeling human connection with people. Moving forward. Oh, and so can you guys see these screenshots I've taken here? Maybe just take a screenshot of that, because this is just an example of a back and forth that I've had with somebody and the language that I use with that person. And you can see like the dates on this. So, you know, it all has happened within about a week that I've had this conversation with this person. So just take a picture of that and you can read it on your own time. I won't like just read to you. You guys could do that. You guys good? You got it? Okay, sweet. So let's get into number 3, getting clear and valuable on your social media. So huge deal, huge deal, because social media is doing at least 75% of the talking for you. In the energy that you're sharing via your posts that are hopefully empowering, inspiring, and educating. I try to use those 3 touch points in my posts about a healthy and happy life. In the pictures of the life that is very much you and could only ever be you and your lifestyle, and in your day-to-day stories with your quirkiness and what you're overcoming in real time, with the bad days that you're picking up from and the really good days that she wants to have just like you're having. So that is all speaking for you on your social media to people that you've reached out with or people that stumble upon your page. The women you reach out to are going to stalk you. I'm telling you, they are. If you don't see them stalking your stories, I'm telling you, they at least looked at your profile. You want to regularly share things that give these women a glimpse into you and your story. Who you were, who you are now, your imperfect realness now that doesn't look super pretty and super put together, but it's the thing that somebody's going to really relate to. And you want to share the things that would encourage them to think, if she can do this, I can do this. The women that get you will want to do this with you. Your people will want to do this with you based on all of that information, but you have to be clear on who you are first. If you don't know who you are not going to be able to speak clearly to your people, and then your message doesn't really go to anybody. It just kind of falls flat. So really get clear on that. So I want to guide you through this very quickly, and you may or may not have done this. A lot of you probably have, but it's always good to kind of like redo this from time to time. You want to do a brain dump of everything that makes you who you are. Every little tiny piece, like the quirks, I'm a little bit of a klutz, but it's not something that particularly stands out about me. I would still include it on that list. Sorry about that. I would include all kinds of random stuff on that list, you know, that my mom used to call me Typhoid Mary. Like I'd include a ton of stuff on that list, like a lot of random stuff, everything. I'm telling you, dump it all out. And then what you want to do is look at, I just got the weirdest text message. Somebody's like, I'm outside right now, and it's not somebody that would say that to me. Okay, so get all of that out and then select the 5 things from that list that are the biggest and are the things that you really want to share. The things that you really want to share, the biggest things about you, are likely going to be the pieces of the women's lives that you want to help. So for example, I'm a dog mom, I'm a PCOS warrior, I'm a bipolar depression champion, I'm an introvert, and I love music. I touch on these 5 things very often in my feed because these are the new followers that I seek out based on those hashtags. And that's what my followers want to see from me. So you want to rotate through these 5 things pretty regularly as you post each week and share pieces of your story that relate to those things in different ways. Listen, I always felt, you guys, like I was saying the same thing in my story over and over and over again, and that people were getting sick of hearing my story. The fact of the matter is that that's really totally likely in your head. It really is. And we have so much that has happened in our lives that when you take a piece from here and you take a piece from there and you take another piece from here, there are things that you feel like you've said a million times, but you probably haven't. And you can share like little tiny stories from pieces of like the big picture of you being depressed, or pieces of the big picture of you struggling with your weight. Like, find the story and share that one particular story. You don't have to feel like you have to word vomit everything in one post. You have a lot to share, and you have a lot of time to share it. You have every day for the length of time that you're a coach. So, get those ideas in the notes section of your phone, and don't feel like you're constantly like preaching the same thing, because I'm telling you, you're not. I just want to share a really quick story. I had this girl that reached out to me about a year ago. She used to live in the same community as me, and we had been friends on Instagram for like over a year. And I posted something one day about being one of my stories about being bipolar and having suicide attempts. And she's like, Alicia, I never heard you say that before. And that, you guys, is one of the biggest pieces of my story, one of the biggest pieces. And I had known her really, like, she's been really, really watching my feed for like a solid year, and she never knew that about me. So, people get caught up in life. They have like other things going on. They're not like dedicated to like checking your stuff out all the time. Like, keep sharing the pieces of you. Okay. Yeah, your social media feed should ultimately be a conglomeration of the small pieces of the story of your life, and only you can create that. Okay, so number 4, new on-brand follows. So what this means basically is that you want to follow new people, add to your network that are within those 5 things that we just talked about. So, and you want to follow women that resonate with those 5 things. And you want to come up with 30 hashtags that relate to each one of those things. Okay, so, and then save those hashtags in the notes section of your phone so that you can literally just copy and paste it when you need them. So for example, for me, I would have 30 dog mom related hashtags, 30 PCOS related hashtags, 30 bipolar depression related hashtags, and save all of that somewhere. And then you use that bundle of hashtags underneath the posts that you put up that relate to that thing. What you're also going to do is search some of those bigger hashtags to find new followers. So for example, and I have this over here, I use hashtag PCOS. I probably shouldn't use it, honestly, because it has over 2.7 million, so nobody's ever going to see my post. But it's really good for looking for followers that have PCOS. So what you would do is, because there's a ton of posts, so what you do is put in that hashtag, and in this, in the little, what's that called? A magnifying glass? Click your magnifying glass on Instagram, put in like hashtag whatever your thing is, and then click on the top posts. And what you're going to do is kind of go through these posts and find a blogger or find some non-Beachbody coach within those posts that has a really large following. And then you're going to go to their Instagram page and look for a recent post within their top 9 probably that you really connect with. And then go through the comments of that particular post and the likes of that post, and click on each name where a picture draws you in, where the picture of the person draws you in, where you feel like, I could be this girl's friend. And then make sure that she's not a coach. Make sure that she lives in the US, the UK, Canada, or France, and like a couple of her pictures. If you feel drawn to comment on a couple, do that, and then follow that person. I do 50 new follows a day at this stage in my business, but I'm going to say that if you're within the first 1 or 2 years of your business, I highly, highly recommend really pouring into your warm market. And those are your Facebook friends or your current followers on Instagram. Big Instagram numbers, you guys, big followers don't matter. I'm telling you, they really do not matter. There are like top coaches in this network that have like 4,000 or 5,000 followers, and they're crushing it. And you know what? I guarantee you, they're pretty tight with most of those people, like with the majority of those people. So work with your following, really get to know those people. Work with your warm following, get to know them and send them invites. And then maybe if you're at that stage of the game, focus on 10 to 20 new follows per day at most, until you're kind of, more adapting towards your cold market. So that's it, you guys. That's the 4 things. Number 1, say hey to those people that follow you and track those people. Number 2, invite after about 3 to 4 touch points. Number 3, get clear and valuable on your social media. Number 4, new on-brand follows. And then once you're in a groove, your daily way of doing this becomes super, super simple. You'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes a day saying hey to people, tracking them, 20 minutes about responding to people that have messaged you back, so keeping up with those conversations, 15 minutes a day inviting, 15 to 30 minutes a day creating content for your feed and your stories and saving that stuff in your phone, and about 5 to 10 minutes on new follows. But you want to stay consistent with this because it is the key to continuing to see progress in your business. And remember, ultimately, you're here to help people that were like you, that needed help. Remember in your heart how much this meant to you and how big of a deal it was for you to feel better in your life, and maybe even how resistant you were and how grateful you were to that person who didn't stop giving up on you. Don't give up on people, please. Especially not now, because people need us more than ever in their lives right now. They're hurting, they feel alone, they're falling into unhealthy habits. It's creating a lot of unhappiness for their life, and we have the thing that can bring them out of isolation. It can help them do for them to help them feel a little bit better, to give them some energy, to give them some focus, to give them some purpose, to maybe find the thing that they always needed, but they didn't know that they needed. This was me. So don't give up on being the light for these people, and working through your own journey at the same time, so that you can be the light to these people. A little bit every day can really truly go a long way. So the very, very last thing I want to share, I just totally lied. I have 2 last things I want to share. The second to last thing that I want to share is some personal development recs for you guys to get your head into a space of giving, into a mindset of giving. So one of my favorite books of all time is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. It is so good. And Brene Brown she gets people. She really gets people. Spoiler alert, the last thing I'm going to share is a really quick 2-minute video, audible, like listening on Brene Brown. And I totally stole this from Rachel. She did like a Trent Sheldon on our call the other night. And I was like, oh, that was so good. So, and I love this too. So I'm going to share that with you. A couple other PD recs really quick. The Power of Vulnerability on Audible is really, really great. Also by Brene Brown. The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein is so good. And The Go-Giver by Bob Berg is amazing. Okay, so I don't know how to do this like where it looks pretty on your screen, so I'm just gonna click over. I'm gonna play it. Okay, you guys ready? We're gonna do this.
The great enemy of writing
isn't
your own lack of talent, it's being interrupted by other.
Come on. I hope this is what I want it to be. Oh, of course it's not. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Little Red Riding Hood. Let's start the story a different way. It was dark inside the wolf.
Yes. Okay.
So I think the biggest myth about vulnerability is that it's weakness. I think a lot of people were raised to believe that. It was modeled, I think, certainly in our culture. We see that a lot, that to be vulnerable, to be open, to be exposed is to be weak. And the truth is, what I found in my research is that vulnerability is not weakness. In fact, I would argue that it's our greatest measure of courage. When we went out and asked people, what is vulnerability? We heard things like, vulnerability is the first date after my divorce. Vulnerability is starting my own company. Vulnerability is taking responsibility for something that went wrong at work. Vulnerability is sitting with my wife who has stage 3 breast cancer and making plans for our young kids. Vulnerability is taking my business public. The definition I use in my work of vulnerability is simply uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Vulnerability is about the willingness to show up and to be seen even when there are no guarantees. And it's interesting to me. I mean, one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I gave a talk, it's probably a couple of years now, and it was being translated by people doing American Sign Language. And they came up before the talk started and they said, are there any words that you're going to use a lot in your talk that we should, know about that or might be different? And I said, well, I use the word vulnerability a lot. And there were two of them, they kind of looked at each other and they said, oh, we do this for vulnerability. And I said, what does that mean? They said, it means weaken the knees. And I'm like, wow, that's not how I talk about vulnerability. And she said, well, there's only one other sign for vulnerability. And I said, what is it? And she said, and I said, oh, that's what I'm talking about. And so to me, vulnerability is our most accurate measure of courage. I mean, it's pretty powerful when I have 13,000 pieces of data collected over 12 years that I cannot find a single incident or story of courage that was not completely underpinned by vulnerability. I think the problem arises that there's so many little paradoxes with vulnerability, and one of them is that vulnerability is courage in you, but weakness in me. When I meet you, it's the first thing I look for in you, but it's the last thing I want to show you in me. And so I think to really put ourselves out there, knowing that if we do that enough, we're going to fail, I just don't think it gets more courageous than that.
So good, right? So good. Oh my God. When she did like this, I literally teared up the first time I saw that because it's so true and it's so hard. It's so hard to open up to people, But anyway, okay. So that's all I've got for you guys.
Oh, you're so awesome.
Thank you so much.
So I just took like a whole page of notes. I'm so excited. I love you and I love your story. And I think that like ending it on vulnerability could not be more powerful, because so often as coaches, we get stuck in the courage realm. And we fear so much about what other people think that none of this system matters if we can't get past vulnerability, and step into courage. And I think that's just like so powerful. Okay, so I want to ask a couple. I have two questions, and if any of you guys have questions, so at the end of I led Alicia's team call last week, and we spent like 20 minutes Q&A back and forth. So if y'all have questions, I want you to unmute yourself.
Definitely.
So
I'm the most scary person ever.
So I was seeing a lot of emotion as you were talking about your story with multiple people on our team, and I want to ask you, so how do you balance, because when you talk about things like that on your social media, it's very deep and very personal and can very often attract people who are really struggling and negative. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I've walked shoes similar. How do you navigate helping those people without it shifting your light? Does that make sense? Am I getting that message across? I hope.
For sure. Yeah. So the thing about me sharing that stuff is that I don't share my depressive episodes when I am deep in the pit of them. I have to process that on my own first. I have to. Otherwise, I take on all this energy and I put out stuff that like, I'm not going to put that junk on people when I haven't had a chance to work through it myself. And I think that goes through anything in life. I went through a divorce too, and I really didn't share extensively on that until once I was through it. So I think that's really important, because also it allows me to be able to find that light, to really find the beauty at the other end of it that people can share, and the people that are ready to also find that beauty really engage with me then at that point. Now, there are definitely people that reach out to me too that are still in a deep, dark hole, and I share with them my story, and I share with them how I got through it and what I'm doing. And literally what I'm doing is what I work through with people now, and whether people are ready to do that or not, that's up to them. All I can do is hear them, is be there for them and let them know that I'm going to be there in the future for them when they are ready to take that next step in their life. But I do say there are times that I have said that I'm not a therapist by any means. And I'll also guide people to therapy too. I'll say that has really helped me in my life. I think therapy should be mandatory for everybody on this planet. So, I've had to say that quite a bit in these last few weeks, because a lot of people, I think some of the stuff that people are experiencing right now are similar to almost like PTSD with like jobs and everything. So I'm very, I'll mention that I think therapy is a good idea pretty frequently.
I told my sister today she needed therapy, so okay, so I love that. And I think the difference there is that you're past it enough to where you can be the light versus someone who's commiserating in that chapter.
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
And they're going to keep following you too, the people that are commiserating, because they know that you've gotten through it. You are the light for them. You're the hope for them, and I'll, I talk about this too on my feed and like publicly. I am still struggling with bipolar depression. Just because I don't take meds doesn't mean I'm cured from it. I still have seasonally, it really comes up for me where I get into a funk, and it can last a week. It can last a couple weeks for me. And like, during those periods of time, I really lean into my personal development and I share my personal development. And then once I'm beyond, then I can share, but people, boundaries. I'm just going to say boundaries.
Yeah. Good. That's really good. Okay. I have a question, but anybody have any questions that they want to ask Alicia? They can unmute and ask their questions.
Please ask me a question.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so you say that you're about to start 7-star qual, which I'm like jumping out of my skin for you. I'm so happy for you. And that's what's so guys, we talk a lot about diamond and star diamond, and like that's a cool title, like yeah, cool. But when you get plugged into corporate groups that you don't get access to until you are at those levels of the business, and that's where you develop friendships. I never would have met Alicia in real life. Like our downlines are not similar, our teams are not the same, our organizations don't interact at all. So what have you been doing to create that team? Because a star diamond rank is a team thing. So what has your team, how have they rallied around that 7-star goal? Is it like an incentive trip, or like how is it?
For sure. So even the push for 3-star was definitely, I was like, all right, I am building the field of dreams right now. Like this diamond retreat is my field of dreams. So I was like, we're going to do this. We're going to go, if you guys can hit diamond by like this particular point. And I think it was like, Jen, it was like when I was in Spain last year. So it was like, I don't know, it was like the end of August or something. And I was literally in Spain the last week of qual, and it was the most like terrifying thing on the planet. But it was the diamond retreat ultimately that got it there. But I have to say it's different for me then when we were going for 3-star versus now where we're going for like higher ranks. And it's that as a leader, I'm an Enneagram 3, you guys. I'm super achiever. Like I'm balls to the wall. My goals are always at the forefront of my vision. Like I'm all in all the time. Like that's how I roll, and to be a good leader, I realized, and this is a really hard learning lesson for me, that I have to be there individually for my people at where they're at. I can't put my goals on other people. They have their own lives, they have stuff that they need and want in their lives. And sometimes our timelines don't align, but I really truly believe that if you create a team atmosphere, and your challenge groups where you're there for people, that they just know that they're always there. And, you can share your goals. And I think that's a really important thing too. I've told with my team right now, we're pushing for summit basically. So July 15th, which by the way, I heard from corporate, they might do like a makeshift summit at the end of this year. I heard that from my
I hope so. We worked so hard for Premiere. I'm like, if we need to celebrate that.
I know. Like I did this. So that's what we're pushing for, is like summit date, which is July 15th. Okay. And I do think too that when you share your heart about why it's important for you and why you want to rally around as a team, and then you truly do lean into those people with what they need, and on a regular basis, even just checking in with them or just like seeing how they're doing, there's an energy that develops there, you know? We said 7-star qual back in like February too. So that deadline has come and gone. And I think the point of it is that you just don't give up on your goal. You know, you keep doing your best to like push for that goal and keep going after it. So I'm by no means like an expert on this, you guys. I'm growing in leadership every single day. It's still mind boggling. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but we're trying. And I think you can just level with people, you know, it's the same thing with building connections, truly. It's just like being like, this is so important for me. And I feel like it would feel so good for us together to have this, you know, and then kind of help reverse engineer, which is my type A brain that then goes into
Not my strength. Anybody have any questions for her? No? Okay. Alicia, will you send me the slideshow presentation that you shared? That was so good. I definitely want to share that because the screenshots of the conversations and stuff would be really helpful. So
totally, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I know that those who love structure and like organization are like screaming your name on this call. So we appreciate you. And I think that it's important to hear other people's, I mean, you can hear from 10 coaches and it will be 10 different ways to run your business. And so at the end of the day, every person on this call has to figure out what works best for them. And so we're going to give you all the tools, but you get to decide what you do with it and how you want to apply it. So I appreciate you. It was a killer call. I'll record it. I'll put it in the team page. And guys, we'll see you next week. Alicia, thanks again.
Of course. Bye, guys. Have a great day.